Oh, the humanity. Mr. Scorched Earth, Zack Brown, team principal of McLaren, is on the rampage again. When does this fella sleep? He's not having it from the bulls that are red, or Christian Horner, or Max Verstappen. Is he first and foremost? We had that Adrian, he was only the first domino in the human resource puzzle that will fall from Red Bull. That's chaos. That's absolutely chaos. However, maybe you might want to call Zack Brown Nostradamus, because rumour is that Jonathan Wheatley might be looking for a team principal role. And of course, he won't get that at the bulls that are red. That might be Sauber or Alpine, say. But Zack Brown has seen you that. And he's raised you this, taking aim on the F1 Nation podcast with Tom Clarkson at one Max Verstappen, saying that Max Verstappen couldn't win a championship but for that RB20. Oh, the humanity. Close your ears, Max Verstappen fundamentalists, because that, ladies and gents, is chaos. Proper F1 barbershop talk. And we're going to have to address it, aren't we? Could Max Verstappen win a championship without that RB20? I don't know. Maybe. But you got to talk circumstances and permutations, right? What car would Max Verstappen be driving in? Who would be the other chap in the Red Bull? Could Alex Albon win a championship in that RB20? Could Checo Perez? Well, we know the answer to that question. That is chaos. Zack Brown, how dare you, mate? How dare you take the Lord's name in vain in Max Verstappen? How very dare you, sir? And again, Zack doubles down. He sees you that and raises you this, saying that anywhere between 5 and 6 drivers currently on the grid could win in that RB20. Now, here's where it gets techie, because I disbelieve that, Max. Zack, name me 7. Name me 6. Name me the 6 or 7, chat. Go on, let's go through them. Alonso probably, Lewis Hamilton probably, Charles maybe, Carlos. I've got 4. You're going to put Lando Norris on that list too, potentially, but he might still be a bit green, eh? He's taking the mick, is Zack Brown, isn't he, Lonzo? How very dare you, chap? How very dare you take the Lord Max Verstappen's name in vain? And I say that tongue in cheek, of course, but it's a conversation to have, isn't it, really? Because many people not named Max Verstappen fans are calling into question the percentage of the whole that is the dominance of Max Verstappen attributable to the RB20. Is Max Verstappen an Adrian Newey merchant? Well, I think that's too harsh. And I think Zack Brown even has been too harsh in his categorisation. Max is very good in characterising the F1 circumstance in 2-4 in that way. You do Max Verstappen a disservice though, lest we forget the Suzuka qualifying lap, lest we forget Sector 3 at Monaco a couple of years back, lest we forget 2021 entire. That dude is very good. And to minimalise the extent to which Max Verstappen has been greatness manifest over the past 3 years, to minimise the extent to which that fella has been perfect, pretty much made 0 unforced errors. I would contend Zack Brown is unfair. Why is Zack Brown saying this then? Because it's brinkmanship. Of course, he's turning around his cap and he smells blood at the bulls that are red. He's looking to get in the face of one Christian Horner, and I don't hate that, ladies and gents. That's what we as Mercedes fans have been demanding off of one Toto, the boy who cried wolf, for as near as makes no difference 36 months. War, Zack Brown, I am here for it, sir, but hold your horses. Don't point your lens at one Max Verstappen, surely. Point it at Christian Horner. Continue then to talk about the human resource drain incoming at the bulls that are red at Milton Keynes. Poke Pierre Vacher. Poke at Ben Watterson and Enrico Balbo. That is the soft, vulnerable underbelly talk about Ford and how they're behind in terms of their powertrain development. If 2026 is when they're looking to land a championship winning power unit, take aim at those things, Zack Brown. But to call into question the competence subliminally of one Max Verstappen, in my humble opinion, is not fair, since over the past 36 months, I can count on one hand the amount of mistakes that Max Verstappen has made. Listen, you can talk all you want about adversity and 2021. It was a bottle job in the latter stages of that champion. You can say all that you want to say, right? But ultimately, the beauty in Max Verstappen's dominance has been execution. He still needs to get in that car and execute each and every single race weekend. And then we come to find out that he's going to do 24 hours worth of Nürburgring virtually this weekend at the Imola Grand Prix. How is he going to fit that in? But it's testament to the commitment of this fella. We've been talking about Senna, it being the 30th anniversary of his death last week, and his commitment. And if there's one thread that you can draw between the Brazilian, the late great one, and Max Verstappen, it is that commitment. Max Verstappen jumps out the cockpit every single race weekend, only to then go and jump in a sim race, for crying out loud. Who's got more commitment than him? And I say all that to say this. In that sense, Zack Brown is being more than a bit cheeky. I will challenge you once again, Zack Brown. If there are 4, 5 or 6 drivers currently on the grid that could win a championship in that RB20, name them. Name them, Zach. Who are we talking about? Because that's proper barbershop talk, and we're going to have to argue the toss on that every single day. I think you might be able to name 4 at best, for the avoidance of doubt. Fernando Alonso, Lewis Hamilton, Charles, maybe. Carlos, maybe. George, maybe. Can't talk about these big championship winning things with such surety. Tongue in cheek, Zach, and I hear it, mate. If we're going to couch it in terms of Brinkmanship and get into the face of the bulls that are red each and every single time, I'm here for it. But if we're talking serious F1 talk, if we're going to take off our barbershop cap for a second, there are not 5 or 6 drivers currently on the grid who could win a championship in that RB20. That would be disingenuous to say. Love you, Zack Brown, for all of your office-esque Ricky Gervais managerial style. And people will lever criticisms at the American for this. Courting Donald Trump, etc. in the name of being honourable to the presidential status of the fella. Controversial, ever so slightly, but I appreciate Zack Brown in his bulldog eagerness to get into the face of Christian Horner. He's not going to take a step back, a la Toto, the boy who cried wolf. And I'm here for that. I appreciate that each and every single time. But don't take it too far, Zach. Don't take it too far, sir. Because credibility and integrity are a real thing. Brinksmanship is nothing without truth. And when you say something to the effect of, there are 4, 5 or 6 drivers currently on the grid who could win a championship in that RB20. Excuse me, sir. I think you're being a tad disingenuous. But I digress.